So you guys send in some really interesting stuff. And I gotta say, this one really caught my eye.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we're going deep, like dive deep into this episode, the first one of season 2 of a show you probably know, aired back in, 94, September 16th, 1994. It's called Little Green Men, and the sources you sent, they make it pretty clear that this episode, this is kind of a turning point for the whole story, really sets things in motion.
Right.
So that's what we're doing today, figuring out what happens, why it matters, and why it still kind of sticks with people,
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. And what really grabs me right off the bat is the whole mood, The X-Files unit, it's gone. It's over. The finale last season, boom, everything's different. And Mulder, the guy who lived and breathed this stuff, he's stuck doing wiretaps. Talk about a come down.
Yeah, it's a huge shift.
And Scully, she's back at Quantico teaching. So right away, they're separated physically in what they're doing. And that creates this feeling of unease, like something's off.
Oh, totally. And for us watching, it's like, wait, what? Where do we go from here? So based on what you sent, the big questions we're looking at today are, how does Mulder get his belief back? How does being away from Scully, who's always been kind of his rock, how does that affect him? And what are the early signs of this bigger, more complex conspiracy that starts to, kind of weave its way into everything?
Yeah, all great questions.
So let's start with Mulder. Right at the beginning, we get this voiceover from him, and it's heavy stuff. He's talking about NASA's Voyager program, way out there. And then he mentions this thing, the high-resolution microwave survey, and it's been shut down. Now, what's interesting about this is, it was basically our big attempt to listen for signals from other intelligent life out there in space. And shutting it down, it's almost like giving up, like losing hope.
Right. And it reflects exactly how Mulder's feeling at this point.
Yeah, totally. And then we see him in this really stark reality, like his meeting with Scully in that parking lot at the Watergate Hotel. It's just, he seems so defeated.
Yeah. And he talks about Deep Throat's funeral, watching it from a distance. Like he feels so lost.
It's almost as if he's losing faith. Like he starts to doubt himself. He even questions if those little green men he's been searching for are even real, or if they're just something he's made up in his head. It's really surprising to see him so vulnerable. But then we get that flashback, don't we?
Yeah, the flashback to his sister's abduction back in '73. It's so powerful. And it's crucial because it shows us why he's like this, why he's so driven.
Right. It goes back to Samantha. It's that core trauma that fuels everything.
Exactly. They're playing Stratego, and then the house starts shaking. There's this intense light, and Samantha, she's floating up. There's this shadowy figure in the doorway.
Oh, it's so unsettling, so vivid, and it really makes you feel the depth of his pain, his motivation.
Yeah, it's what drives him. But then there's a glimmer of hope. Enter Senator Richard Matheson.
Right, the senator. He's described in the sources as someone who's, kind of a believer in Mulder's work, or at least willing to listen.
And they meet, and it's all very hush-hush, very secretive. And he puts on Bach, Brandenburg Concerto No. 2, Which, fun fact, that was the first piece of music put on the Voyager Golden Record. That thing they sent out into space. It's supposed to represent humanity, right?
Oh, wow.
So they're playing this music, like, to cover their conversation. And Matheson tells Mulder about this abandoned satellite station in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. The equipment there, it's been reactivated.
It's like a message from the universe almost.
And Matheson, he warns Mulder about this team, the Blue Berets. They're the UFO retrieval team. They're coming to shut it down.
Oh.
They'll be there in 24 hours no matter what. So there's a real time crunch.
Yeah, that urgency, it's palpable. So off Mulder goes to Puerto Rico.
Right. And when he gets to Arecibo, he meets this guy, Jorge Concepcion. The guy's terrified, clearly seen something that shook into his core, and they can't even speak the same language.
Oh, wow. So Mulder's alone, he's in this unfamiliar place, and he can't even communicate with the one person who might have some answers. It's a tough spot.
Meanwhile, Scully, she's not just sitting around. She's worried about Mulder, and she starts her own investigation. Unofficially, of course.
Of course.
She goes to his apartment. She finds these computer-generated numbers he's printed out.
Talk about resourceful. I mean, she's putting the pieces together, and she's not even supposed to be involved.
She's a good agent. She tracks down a scientist at the U.S. Naval Observatory, and guess what? Those numbers, they're signals from space.
No way.
Yeah, and then she finds a flight manifest, and there he is, Mulder, under an alias, George Hale.
Wow. So Scully's on his trail, even though they're not officially partners anymore. It shows how much she cares.
Yeah, their bond runs deep.
So back in Puerto Rico, things take kind of a spooky turn.
All right, so Mulder, he actually detects a signal at Arecibo, a potential message from out there. It's the breakthrough he's been hoping for, right?
It's like, finally, something real.
But then a storm hits, a big one. And Jorge, he totally freaks out. He runs outside and Mulder finds him dead, like frozen in fear. It's really creepy.
Oh my God. And at the same time, Scully, she's at the airport and she realizes she's being followed.
Yeah, there are these guys watching her, but she manages to lose them and she gets on a plane to Puerto Rico.
Smart lady.
Yeah. When she gets there, she finds Mulder and they're looking at Jorge's body, and then the whole room starts shaking. And this shadowy figure, it appears.
Wait, an alien.
It's not clear,
Yeah.
but it's definitely not human. And Mulder tries to shoot it, but his gun malfunctions. Then there's this blinding light. And that's it.
Oh, what a cliffhanger.
The next morning, Scully wakes up, and Mulder, he's a mess, but he's also excited. He thinks he's got proof, real proof, on the tapes and readouts from the equipment.
So close yet so far.
Yeah, but then the Blue Berets, they show up. Mulder and Scully barely get out of there with just one tape reel.
Just like that, it's gone.
Back in Washington, they get called in by Skinner, and guess who's there?
Oh no, the cigarette smoking man.
Yep. And Mulder, he's defiant. He's accusing Skinner of tapping his phone. It's intense. But Skinner, he lets Mulder go. No punishment.
That's interesting.
Maybe there's more to Skinner than we realize.
Yeah, maybe. But then, the big twist. The tape, the one they risked everything for, it's blank.
Totally empty. Scully figures a power surge from the storm might have wiped it, degaussed it.
But it makes you wonder, right? Was it really just a storm, or was it something else?
That's the X-Files for you. Never a simple answer.
Right. So Mulder's back to square one, back to the wiretaps. But he's not giving up. He says he'll keep searching for the truth no matter what.
It's that drive, that relentless pursuit that defines him.
Yeah, he's a man on a mission. Okay, but let's shift gears a little. We've talked about the story, but what about the behind-the-scenes stuff?
Right, the making of this episode is kind of fascinating.
Your sources mentioned some really interesting details, almost like secrets from the past.
So first off, this episode, it was the very first one after the X-Files unit got disbanded. So that sense of loss, that darker, more isolated feeling, it wasn't just part of the story. It reflected what was actually happening with the show itself.
Wow, so it was a big change for everyone.
Yeah, and for Mulder, who spent his whole life chasing this almost impossible dream, Little Green Men is kind of a turning point, even though it's ambiguous. He always believed in aliens, right? But in this episode, he has his first real personal encounter, that shadowy figure in the shaking room.
Right, right.
We don't know for sure if it was an alien or something else, but it's a pivotal moment for him, even with all the doubt he's feeling.
And here's where it gets really cool. The whole idea of picking up a signal from deep space, it's directly inspired by a real event, the Arecibo message, which was sent into space in 1974.
Yeah, they actually did that.
And the Arecibo Observatory, the place where most of the episode takes place, that was and still is a real place.
They really do search for extraterrestrial intelligence there.
Wow, so they blended fiction and reality in a really clever way. And here's another fun fact. Even though the episode is set in Puerto Rico, they actually filmed it in Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah, most of the series was filmed there.
Vancouver, it's like, how did they make it look tropical?
Movie magic.
I can just imagine them, with those fake palm trees and trying to make Vancouver look like a jungle.
It's amazing what they can do with sets and special effects.
Yeah, it is. And this episode, it really establishes the cigarette smoking man as the big bad,
He's not just lurking in the shadows anymore. He's actively working to stop Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with. And Scully, even though she's not officially on the case, she's still helping Mulder. She puts herself at risk. She goes to Puerto Rico, all because she cares.
Yeah, she's loyal. Their partnership, it's more than just work. It's personal.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about Deep Throat. He died at the end of season 1, and Mulder's still feeling that loss.
Yeah, it comes through in his voiceover. He's lost his guide, his mentor. He's really on his own now.
And there's one more little detail that I love. Remember Senator Richard Matheson?
Yeah, the guy who tipped Mulder off.
Well, they named him after Richard Matheson, the writer. He wrote some classic Twilight Zone episodes and the book I Am Legend,
Right, yeah.
It's a nice little nod to the history of science fiction and horror. And, the original plan for Little Green Men was to have a much bigger, clearer alien encounter.
Yeah,
right?
Really show the alien.
But they had budget constraints, so they had to scale it back.
And honestly, it worked out for the best.
I agree. It made it creepier, more mysterious, you know?
Yeah, that ambiguity, that's what makes the X-Files so great. It keeps you guessing.
Yeah. So there you have it. Little Green Men. A crucial episode that takes us deeper into Mulder's journey, shows the strength of his bond with Scully, and introduces the bigger conspiracy that's at play.
Plus, all those behind-the-scenes tidbits.
Right. It's like a whole other layer to the story, and it makes you think, you know, about the real-life search for extraterrestrial life, the power of belief, and the stories we tell ourselves about the unknown.
And ultimately, it's up to you to decide what you believe. What do you make of the little green men? Are they real, or are they just a symbol of something else, something bigger?
That's the beauty of it. You get to decide. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Until next time.
Yeah, until next time.